So in this video, we'll take a closer look at this hard drive adapter, where you can adapt up to 6 2.5-inch hard drive into a 5.25-inch drive bay, which is of course normally used for optical disk drives. And this one is fairly inexpensive and is all made of plastic. And like I said, you can house up to 6 2.5-inch hard drives, or I believe 2 2.5-inch and a 3.5-inch hard drive. And of course in this video we'll just unbox and have a closer look at this specific item. But you can see it here on AliExpress with 2.5-inch hard drives, 6 of them in total. And here you can see the setup with 2 2.5-inch and 1 3.5-inch hard drive. And like I said, it fits into an optical disk drive bay on your case. So if you have one of those and you would rather use hard drive over an optical disk drive, this is definitely a solution you should consider. And what you get is this nice brown box. You get some information here around the back. It just takes you through the product here, how to mount the hard drives and how many hard drives you can actually mount to this. And of course we already went over that. And all of its features here, so support 7mm and 15mm 2.5-inch hard drives. So that's definitely nice. So you can use both slim and normal thickness 2.5-inch hard drives for SSDs, or if you want to use those higher capacity 2.5-inch drives like 5 terabyte drives, I believe those are 15mm in thickness. Other than that, nothing really around the box here, so let's just get straight into it. And let's cut through the seal here and have a closer look at what we actually get inside the box. It doesn't really weigh much, so don't really expect too much. It is of course made entirely by plastic, which is of course both good and bad. The good thing is, of course, it doesn't weigh as much when you have to ship it. And the bad thing is, of course, it is plastic, so not really as durable and doesn't transfer any heat from the drives and so on. But anyways, get it in this nice little plastic bag here. Just get everything out of this packaging. So, of course, you have instructions here included as well. And we do have English instructions on one side. It goes over all the screws that's included. So we have 24 screws for the 2.5-inch drive. And we have 4 for the 3.5-inch. And for mounting it inside of your case. And it pretty much just says the same thing that you can read outside the box and in the product description, how many hard drives and so on you can attach. And the other side here is in Chinese. Other than that, you do get all of the screws included, so that's definitely a nice thing. So you don't have to go and source those screws as well, because yeah, for instance, 3.5-inch hard drive actually uses a different thread than a 2.5-inch hard drive, so that's definitely worth to note. So you get 4 of those screws for 3.5-inch and 24 for 2.5-inch. It doesn't seem like you are getting more than that. So there's no extra spares included, but that's also fine enough, especially for the price point. And these are for mounting it inside of your case. And then of course we have the nicely constructed of plastic caddy here. So we do have brass inserts on the side for screwing in inside of your case. So only really 2 screws on each side is possible. The same on the other side. Brass inserts, only 2 on this side as well. So 4 in total screws you can screw into place. And that's definitely also fine enough. But I suspect this one can actually vibrate quite a bit if you have 6 drives connected to it. So screw it in place is definitely something you should consider, because this will probably rattle around inside of your case and just make all kinds of annoying noise or sounds. On the front, we do have that beautiful name, Olmaster. And yes, this is a original Olmaster. So you know it's good quality. Little tab there in the bottom. Other than that, it feels like it's pretty well constructed. Of course, it can flex quite a bit. That shouldn't really matter at all. One downside though, to a caddy like this, is there is no ventilation in the front. So that could actually be an issue, because you cannot really suck any cold air from the front over the hard drive. So if you have 6 hard drives, just stacked on top of each other, like this one for instance, and 1 more over here and 4 more underneath here, then you will generate a lot of heat, and this could potentially be an issue. So that's one design flaw. For me personally, I plan to just use 2 SSDs here on the top, and this caddy here is just representing a 3.5-inch hard drive, because I don't have one at hand right now, and then just screw a 3.5-inch hard drive down here, a mechanical hard drive. This way I think it will be okay heat-wise, but with 6 drives connected, and if you read and or write a lot to those 6 drives, I think you could run into some issues. If you just use this for JBOD, just a bunch of disks, maybe you're fine. If those disks you're not actively using will get into a standby mode, so they won't rotate. But 6 drives rotating in this enclosure with no ventilation going into the front towards the back, yeah, it could potentially overheat. But actually fits quite well, but it seems like the top row here only fits the slimmer type hard drives, and the 2 bottom rows here probably will accommodate thicker hard drives, so you can have like 15 millimeters down here and 7 millimeters up here, because yeah, this is a 7 millimeter drive and that fits in perfectly here on the top. You can see there's not really much space between the screw here and the hard drive. So 7 millimeter on the top and 15 millimeters here in between. So that's still pretty okay. And then of course 3.5 inch hard drive. You can mount that right here. And you can see that the screw holes does line up pretty well with the 3.5 inch hard drive, so that the SATA plug is towards the back. I'm not really sure if you can actually mount it this orientation. No, the only orientation is upside down, which is again fine enough, because this is on the bottom side of a 3.5 inch hard drive. You cannot really mount it the other way, unless of course you zip tie it or something to the little caddy here. And in terms of size between a optical disk drive, this is just a DVD multi-drive I have laying around. But you can see there it does not stick out as far towards the back as a standard optical drive. So actually save a little space there. But of course, if you mount a 3.5 inch hard drive, actually it won't really stick out much further than the plastic caddy here at all. Just maybe a centimeter or so towards the back. So yeah, still takes up a little bit less space. So that's nice for cable management as well. If you have a tight space between the power supply, for instance, and the optical disk drive, you'll probably have to use 90-degree angle plugs. But I think with this system here, you should potentially be able to plug a full-size SATA plug in here. For instance, something like this. Yeah, you can see there actually doesn't stick out much further than the optical disk drive. So if you are tight on space, which I am in my specific case here, definitely you should be okay with this one. And as well for the 2.5 inch drive you have mounted down below. See that the screw holes fit perfectly with that one as well. And that does stick out a little bit from the bottom side. See there, but again, pretty much the same distance as the 3.5 inch hard drive. One thing I noticed with the specific system I am going to use this one in, I do have a toolless case. One of those Fujitsu is Primo cases or computers that I have also looked at. You can go and check that video out from my channel. But this one has the crickless system, so you don't have to use any screws. And that little plate here fits in to the left side. There's little pointy tips sticking out here. So it's supposedly fit into the screw holes, but unfortunately on this specific adapter here, but only 2 of the screw holes have brass inserts. So you can see that it's just rattling around and not really all that stable in place. And I just found that I can put it in a little further than I would like to. So even though I have a quick release system, I will probably end up screwing it in place as well, just to keep it nice and secure. Because you can see here, compared to like optical disk drive, this little plate here is just so much more stable, because the screw holes are a little bit smaller. But definitely something to keep a note of if you have one of those pre-built systems from like Dell or Lenovo or Fujitsu or HP. A lot of them uses toolless systems, and maybe they have something like this where you slide it in and it clicks in place, and it could be a little bit loose in those types of systems. But other than those shortcomings, no ventilations in the front, which is both good and bad. You will not suck any dust in from the front here, but of course you could also have issues with temperatures from your drives, so that's definitely something you should keep an eye on. But other than that, for the price point, I don't really think I can fault this. I just wanted something very cheap that I can plug in a few SSDs and then 3.5 inch hard drive, and this one was just the best price to performance ratio out there. Of course, if you're interested in this one, I can share some link down in the description below. But else, that's pretty much all I have for this video. Until next time, take care.